Is tonight's game season-defining?
I think I like what Tim said there about it's the biggest game of the season because it's the next game of the season. I think that's how I hope certainly that Slot and all the players are looking at it at the moment, taking it, one game at a time. I know it's a massive cliche, but hopefully that's how they're looking at it and hoping that they get a result in this one, build a bit of confidence going into the next one. I don't think it's quite season defining because it's. With the new Champions League format and the way it runs in and stuff, we've still got another, 2-3 home games in the Champions League and some of the much easier fixtures coming there as well against teams you would be. I mean, it would be a monumental shock if we lost to them, teams like Karabag later on and things like that. So I wouldn't say it's season defining. I still think with the new format, we'll find a way through the Champions League, no problem. I'd be more concerned about the game on at the weekend against Brentford, to be honest.
Yeah. That's a good point. I was just going to ask you, more important to win tonight or more important to win at the weekend?
Yeah, I mean, do you know what? I'd even take I said I'd take a draw against City last time and got panned for it. So I'm not going to say I'd take anything except a win tonight. But yeah, if you had to choose one of the two to get a win out of, then it's going to be Brentford at the weekend to get the league form back on track because that's the important one. That's the one where that's the one where we're really going to be judged until later in the season. What I'd like to see tonight more than anything is just a better performance. To be honest, yeah. I think I've been saying it for weeks now and crying out for. Looking for a bit more of that tactical identity to come back, a bit more of that intensity in attack and the individual errors to be stamped out at the back. And that would be progress for me tonight.
But you played a lot worse this season than you did at the weekend in your one games.
Say again, sorry.
You played a lot worse than you did at the weekend. I thought you played all right against Manchester United, but you've played a lot worse than that, but you've won games in the early games of the season and got away with it. So it balances itself out.
It does. What I would say, whilst I totally agree that the performance against United was definitely an improvement, we've still not seen a good performance in the same way that we saw from Liverpool last season. And I know I've said before, look, when I've been on that at this point in the season last year, we still weren't firing on all cylinders. We were only just starting to find the rhythm, but it was kind of always on an upwards trajectory. We were getting there game by game, whereas this season it feels like we improve in one area and we fall apart in another. We improve in another area and then we haven't kept that progress from another. And I think it'd be nice to just see a bit more of that progress in performance, to be honest.
Can I ask you one question? It's topical because of Paul Merson's quotes about Erling Haaland. If you lose Van Dijk, can you win the league?
No, not at the moment. Not with our current centre-back options, I don't think. Konate, actually, I thought did really well against United. I thought it was one of Van Dijk's poorer performances this season, if I'm dead honest, Tim. But no, I think over the course of this season already, we've seen just how important Van Dijk is. And knowing that, I know he's only a young lad, you wouldn't be expecting him to come in and play a run of games. But Leone being out for the year, us not getting Gueye in the summer, I think if we lose Van Dijk and we're relying on Konate and Gomez, I think that would definitely impact on our league form.
But you think you still finish in the Champions League, though?
Oh. I think it makes it harder. I think it changes our season. If Van Dijk does his ACL tonight and he's out for the season, I think our expectations for the season change from being title challengers to top four race for sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
Are you happy with Van Dijk's form, though? He was criticised against Manchester United and against Chelsea.
In the last couple of weeks, no, I haven't been impressed with his form at all. I think you're looking to your captain in moments like this as a team, right, to step up and to hold those performance levels that he's had for us for years and to lead by example for the team. And it's unfortunate timing for him that at a point where all of our big players, big signings are in poor form. Salah's in poor form. It's really bad timing for Van Dijk's performance levels to have dropped off as well from where he was at the start of the season when he looked as good as he's ever been.
We've got a voice note from Managerial actually on tonight's game. Let's hear that.
I think Arne Slot needs to find a reaction, not just for the points, but also to prove that he can stop this slide. After losing to United the other day at Anfield, this game against Frankfurt, it decides whether it's just a bad run of games or a full-on crisis.
Right, OK. I mean, just thinking about that and what you said about Mo Salah, Connor, tonight's game, you think, in terms of the Champions League, won't be that critical because you think you're going to get through anyway. So is tonight the night to try something different on that right-hand side of your attack?
Yeah, it's very possible. I've seen there's been a lot of talk this last week about, in the last few days, about whether Salah should be dropped or not. We've actually already seen Salah get, not dropped as much, but rested when we played Galatasaray as well. And I thought it was the wrong decision then. I wouldn't be surprised to see him not start tonight. But I'm not sure I'd necessarily say he's being dropped. I think trying something different is no bad thing. Chiesa's probably earned the right to play on the right and to start a game on the right. Frimpong did well in the 10-15 minutes that he had against United. The only counter to that, I suppose, is that we haven't got another player like Salah. We haven't got. It's not as if we're saying, take our striker options. It's not like we're saying Isak's in poor form, drop him and bring in Ekitike, who's an £80 million striker who's been brilliant as well. Salah on the right wing is the right wing option at Liverpool. Yeah, anyone else is sort of a bit of a, not makeshift, but they're nowhere near his level. So it's tricky when you're talking about dropping him. Resting him, yes, to get him ready for the weekend, but dropping him, I'm not in that camp yet.
Wirtz will play tonight, won't he?
He better add. I don't know how he's supposed to get any better and work with the system and find his feet and find his form if he keeps playing on the bench. To be honest, it's a bit of a baffling one, that one.
Connor, I still think your biggest goal threat is Cody Gakpo.
At the moment, yeah. I see fans online all the time, and I mean, sometimes it's your online fans, instead of your proper fans, but you see them slating Cody Gakpo.
No, he's your biggest threat.
Yeah, I think he's brilliant. I think this season he's been really underrated again. He is underrated, I think, in this league. And as you said before, Timmy, he could have had 3 or 4 against United on another day, and suddenly the narrative changes on him.
With Arne Slot, he's got loads and loads of credit in the bank. But when do you start getting worried?
If we lose tonight and there's no sense of progress, as I said before, I think I read before that the first time we've lost 5 games in a row is we have to go back to 1953 or something like that. So it's that would be, people are going to start questioning him, and rightly so, if the performance isn't there as well. I think even if we don't get a win tonight, but you can see that we've got that intensity back, we're creating chances, and it comes down to individual players not taking chances like Salah and Gakpo at the weekend, then I think you can go, great, well, things are moving in the right direction. We will get there. And then I would be in the same as Tim said before, I wouldn't be as worried about it. If there's no performance tonight, no progression, and we get steamrolled by Frankfurt, or it looks like they're in control of the game throughout, and then the same happens against Brentford, then I think he's under huge pressure at that point.
Connor, does it worry you that Arne Slot keeps coming out and talking about the opposition all the time, about playing low blocks and taking long throws and playing direct? I mean, the more he tells people that he's not comfortable with that, the more people are going to play against you that way. Yeah,
he's an honest bloke, and he's sometimes to a fault, I think.
I think he thinks he's criticising, or I'm not sure what the motive is, but he needs to stand back and think about it a little bit.
Yeah, it's something that as fans we loved about him when he came in. Is like his tactical insight and his honesty when he was talking tactics in the game was a bit of a breath of fresh air, because you're so used to hearing managers give cliche answers and say, and protect the players, give cliche answers, difficult game, that kind of thing, and not really get into the meat of anything. And Slot doesn't do that. He's honest after every game, and I think it would be if he was being honest at the weekend, he'd blame individual players not taking the chances like everyone has. But yeah, I think in revealing tactics, there's a point where you sort of go, maybe keep your cards a bit closer to your chest. But I'm sure he's learning that as well about the game. And as you say, this is the first time he's been in this position where maybe he has to hold a little bit back.
I hope for your sake things turn around. Connor, thank you.